Anand Bakshi wrote over 4,000 songs. Millions of us globally have sang to his lyrics. We danced to them, we cried to them, we fell in love through them. And for those of us who grew up in the 90s, songs like Tujhe Dekha To Ye Jana Sanam from the blockbuster movie Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge became part of our lives and our memories and our love stories. But what if some of those songs were carrying something much deeper? What if hidden inside mainstream Bollywood were lessons on attachment, on loss, on surrender, destiny, devotion, and even Sanatan Dharma itself? Today, when so many people are searching for meaning, peace, and purpose, I find myself returning back to these lyrics that many of us grew up singing without fully understanding. Earlier this week, I was joined by his son, Rakesh Bakshi. And no, this isn't a Bollywood interview. This is a conversation about the man behind the lyrics, the philosophy behind the words, and the spiritual depth that many of us were singing without even realizing it. And make sure you stay till the very end because this is a conversation that you've never heard anywhere on YouTube or anywhere else before. So, without further ado, let me take you back to that deeper conversation that I had with Rakesh Bakshi, the son of Indian film industry's finest lyricists, Anand Bakshi. Rakesh ji, welcome to the Conscious Mic. It's a pleasure speaking with you today.
Alpa ji, namaste, and I hope saru che, everything saru che, everything is fine.
બધું
Yeah,
મજામાં છે.
madhyama che. Ami bhi madhyama che.
Now, let's start at the very early beginning stage, the early life of your father and his journey. And I read that he spent 17 years in Rawalpindi, which is now Pakistan. Unfortunately, he lost his mother, your grandmother, at a very young age. I think he was 5 years old. And then by the age of 14, he was in the Indian Navy. And by 16, in the Indian Army, which is quite extraordinary in itself. And what I came across something that really intrigued me about your father, that he may have left the Navy in an attempt to come to Mumbai, but that didn't quite work out initially. So I'm curious to know, when did the writing and the poetry really begin for him? When did that shift happen for him?
So it's not a tectonic shift. Even it's like a glass breaks. It doesn't break at the one spot. It breaks, there is a series of cracks, and then all the series of cracks leads to one big crack. It's like, for example, when I went through a divorce, the divorce didn't happen overnight. It's a series of events that happen between a couple, and then one day they reach a zone where they feel, okay, you know what, let's separate. So the same way, it's not an event; it's a journey. He around the age of 12 and 13, he began not just writing poetry, but also composing it as a song and singing it as a song and performing it for friends as an actor. So he was kind of unknowingly what we would call today multi-talented. He was not just a writer, he was also a composer from that very age. Writing, composing, singing, and acting it out. And acting it out comes very easy to many of us in Sanatan Dharma because we perform the Ramayana. The Ramayana play is performed every year in the villages. I mean, much less in the urban areas, but in the rural areas, it's performed every year, and everybody participates. Somebody plays the role of a man, somebody plays the role of a woman, somebody plays the role of a kshatriya, stuff like that. So he was also a part of the Ramayana theater plays, and not theater. There was no theater as such, but it was those performances that they would have in the village or in select areas. Every year annually. So he would write the Ramayana play in poetry in verses in rhyme, and also perform them. So there was and also sing some of the verses. So it was a kind of very natural training you know. And then there was a mandir near their home, Jain
Mhm.
mandir, the Hindu mandir. There was a gurdwara near their house, and they were these mandirs, the Hindu mandirs and the gurdwaras. They had music was a part of these spaces and places. There was always some kirtan happening or some bhajan happening, and on Ekadashi or whatever the other religious festivals related either to our natural elements, five
Mhm.
elements: Bhumi, Agni, Vayu, Akash, sky, Jal, or maybe the phases of the moon or the phases of the sun. There was something or the other happening every fortnight, and it was
Yeah.
usually added, with some kind of a song, singing, a song and bhajan and kirtan stuff like that. So I think that was the training. That was
Okay.
the subconscious training. The journey began from there unknowingly. And I mean, as a child, you hear stories from elders, people who have traveled beyond the village, relatives who have traveled beyond the kshetra state, you know,
Yeah.
and you hear stories of, you see movies as a child, you hear the gramophone record player as a child, and you wonder and you question and you find out that this film has been made in Bombay,
Mm.
Bombay में बनी है film. बम्बई से फिल्में बन के आती हैं, you know. So there is a dream, there is an image in your head, which you can't touch, but you can see, you can feel, you can feel
Yeah.
in your. So that feeling was always there. I want to go to Bombay. मुझे बम्बई जाना है एक दिन. मुझे एक दिन बम्बई जाना है. I want to go to Bombay. I want to be. And then when you hear these people sing on the vinyl players, and when you see the movies once in a while, or the cinemas that came to the town closest to the village, then you start aspiring to be like those characters on screen. You aspire to write like the lyricists have written. So his earliest impression, his earliest guru, from whom he learned how to write by just listening, was D.N. Madhok. He was a very popular, very famous, very successful, respected lyricist of the 50s,
Okay.
40s, 50s, and that's the first time he started following somebody, being devoted to hearing somebody, like his favorite singer was Saigal, his
Mm.
favorite lyricist was D.N. Madhok Saab, stuff like that. So it's just a little, it's a journey when in that journey, all these things were destination, the Ramayana, performing the Ramayana, writing the Ramayana, singing the Ramayana, acting in the Ramayana, or taking part in all the cultural festivals of Sanatan Dharma in the village every
Mhm.
fortnight. Then going to the cinema hall, watching a movie 20 times, He saw a movie like Barsat Ki Ek Raat 29 times,
Wow.
And when he saw that film, he was so impressed and so enamored that he wrote all the songs of that film in his own lyrics because now he knew the story, he knew the
Yeah.
characters. So he started writing. So that's where he began writing film songs without they going nowhere. But
Yeah.
nothing goes nowhere. Even when a mango ripens or when a mango rots and falls, it becomes manure. It doesn't go nowhere. It goes
Yeah.
somewhere. In
Yeah.
that same way, all the actions we do, karma we do perform, has some consequence, some result. Just like the mango falling will have some consequence, some result in the on the earth, in the bhumi it falls on. Similarly, all these things were just adding to his karmic journey of reaching Bombay one day. And so slowly, when he started writing like this, performing to friends in the village, in the neighborhood, performing. Of course, he could not perform for his family because it was considered derogatory work. Being in
Yeah.
the film line, being a lyricist, being an actor was considered not honorary profession, and
Yeah.
particularly so because we come from a family of stratification called the Mohjals. Mohjals
Yeah.
are a martial clan.
Okay.
It's a martial race, like how Kshatriyas. So we are the
Mhm.
Kshatriyas of the Punjabis, of the Hindus. So
Okay.
most of our ancestors were in the warriors and in the military, in the armed forces in some way or the other. Even today we have hundreds of cousins in some armed forces somewhere.
Mhm.
So considering the fact you're coming from a military background, military, a martial clan background, it's obviously not going to be accepted in the family. So when he would perform for his friends, they would do wah wah wah, fantastic, बहुत अच्छा, बहुत बढ़िया, तुम बम्बई जाओ. So more than him putting the thing in his head, it was the compliments, the encouragement, the feedback, the
Yeah.
opinion and advice and suggestions he received from just everyday regular people he met and trusted and grew up with, that gave him the confidence or put the dream in his head that yes, that is the place for me. Though he doesn't know what it is, he doesn't even know where it is on the map, you
Hmm.
know. So that is how that journey began with so many destinations on the way.
And I want to just take you back a little bit because you said something which derives a question now. That one thing that stands out so clearly when you listen to his lyrics is his ability to understand the story and the characters. Like you said, he watched Barsat Ki Raat 25 times, and the emotional moment in a film, almost as if he was more immersed in that song than the director was, I think. And yet he brought such, if I say simplicity, into his lyrics, something that connected with everyone that listened to those lyrics. So, where do you feel that strength came from for him?
What you call the strength, which is a strength in
Mm.
this profession, is also a kind of a weakness in the sense that in the 1980s, in the mid 1980s, when he got his second heart attack, so the doctor
Okay.
put a pacemaker on him.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor, we were in the hospital, he had just come out of the surgery and he had recovered from the surgery and he was resting. So after college, I went to meet him in the hospital. And at that time, the doctor came, the heart specialist came and scolded my father. He
Okay.
scolded him that, I've been telling you since the last decade, stop this smoking,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
smoking and having a pan tambaku, betel leaf is not good for you. I've been telling this to you since so many years. And look now, all these bad habits of yours, smoking and this pan tambaku, see what they've done to you. See what they've done to your heart. They have harmed your heart.
Mm.
They've harmed you. And he went away. And when the doctor went away, my father, under his breath, called him a fool. You know, he said, "Hey, गधा है, ये कुछ नहीं जानता." So I said, "Dad, what do you mean गधा है? Even mom has been telling you since so long, this pan tamaku is a very bad habit. This your pan is dirtying my bed sheets. The pan is
Yeah.
dirtying our wash basin. These pan ka, these stains fall on the kurta. I have a headache cleaning the kurtas. As a homemaker, your problems are different. No? The
Mm.
problems are to clean the home, keep everything clean, right? So she was fed up of my dad, his pan falling here and there, sometimes on the sofa, sometimes on the, because when you make something, sometimes it
Yeah.
falls. Sometimes when you're throwing the pan in the vessel, it spills out.
Yeah.
So he said, what I mean by saying that he is dumb doesn't mean that he is dumb professionally. He
Mm.
doesn't understand. He doesn't know that my my bad health, my what he's calling a bad heart, because now it needs a pacemaker to beat, right?
Mhm.
It's not because of my pan and tobacco. My heart, the toll on my heart has been taken by my songs. मेरे गानों ने मेरे दिल को कमजोर किया है. My
Mm.
heart has been hurt by my songs because when I write, if I don't feel what the characters are feeling, if I don't feel their pain, if I don't feel their laughter, if I don't feel the separation, if I don't feel their sorrow, if I don't feel their divorce, if I don't feel the murder, if I don't feel the hatred, if I don't
Mm.
feel the jealousy that the characters are going through in the story, how am I going to reflect what they are trying to say in the story? So you need to feel. You see, if you are investing your next 1 hour, 2 hours with me or anybody like me, it's because you have felt something. There's something you
Mm.
felt. You're not coming to donate your time to me. You're not
Never.
even donating your time to your audience. There's something you're feeling, and that feeling is making you expand.
Mhm.
And in that expansion of energy, you are passing on that expansion that you have felt within, that emotional expansion, the philosophical expansion. That expansion has to go somewhere, otherwise it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
It's going to drown you.
Mhm.
So you let it out. You laugh it out. You cry it out. You write it out. You paint it out. You make a movie. You make a drawing. You do up a home. You change your clothing. You change your makeup. It's all an expansion of that energy that arrives to you from what you experience. The same way,
Yeah.
what he's experiencing hearing those stories, whether it's pain or happiness, unless he feels that he can't reflect it. You see, if this mirror behind me is reflecting me, it's because my image is falling on it.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not reflecting anything.
No.
Something needs to fall on something for it to be reflected. So
Yeah.
if some energy from Anand Bakshi songs have fallen on you, they are reflecting in this conversation. They're
Yeah.
reflecting in the decision you took to have a chat with me, and you want to expand that energy to more people. So you want to blog it.
Yeah.
The same way. That's what he's doing. So when I go to live events, when I'm speaking to someone like you, who's speaking about somebody who passed away 25 years ago, who began his career 1956, more
Mhm.
than 60, 70 years ago, it's because so you people are kind of keeping him alive. So you're hearing his songs, you're again keeping him alive. You're
Yeah.
talking about them, we are again keeping him alive. So I always tell people when I go to the live audiences that, my father's work, profession as a lyricist, writing to the stories that he heard, reflecting the emotions he heard, did not, he felt that मेरे गानों ने मेरी जान ली है, मेरे गानों ने मेरे दिल को कमजोर किया है. So my dad's songs didn't let him live, and you people are not letting him die.
Yeah.
You're keeping
True.
him alive by talking about him.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of your karma. I mean, I feel that that's karma, which is the karma is keeping him alive.
It is. Yeah. Absolutely. And when you look
His
at the
biological body has gone, but his
yeah.
karma has kept him alive today.
Yeah. It's so true. I couldn't have articulated that any better. And when you look at the number of people that he's worked with, from going back to S.D. Burman, then R.D. Burman, then Roshan and Rajesh Roshan, and
Many more before that, many more. He worked with 61 music composers, which is a world record. I think so.
wow, Lakshmi Kampialar, Kalyan Jianaji, all
Yeah.
of those up until A.R. Rahman. I don't know if there's anybody after that. I don't think there
Oh, yeah,
was.
lots after that.
Was it? Okay. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
nearly, was it 200 collaborations? No,
He's worked with about 61 music composers and about
61.
242 filmmakers.
Yeah. So was there any particular director or composer who you feel brought out the most heartfelt, meaningful writing in Bakshi Saab?
So I asked him one day when I came in the film industry in 1997, 1999. I was an
Yeah.
assistant director on the movie called Tal. My boss was the director Subhash Ghai.
Yeah.
So I got familiar with how films are made. I got familiar with how writers work, how lyricists work, how music is made, how songs are made, how actors act.
Mhm.
And I also did filmmaking courses in New York, in London, in Amsterdam, many places. I did a lot of filmmaking courses, acting courses.
Mhm.
I've done an acting course. I did an acting course so that I can be a better director. So
Wow.
I asked my father one day that, Dad, why is it that some people like Subhash Ghai, Yash Chopra, Shakti Samanta, K. Balachandra, and many other names,
Mm.
many other names, because he's done 650 films, more than
Yeah.
650 films and more than 3,900 songs. So I said, Dad, why is it that all these people, you have given fantastic songs, fabulous songs? And why is it that these other people, I named six, seven other people, those people have not got good songs? But how is it possible? Because you are the writer of all these films, you must have charged the same amount of money from everybody.
Mm.
It's a one-man job, it's a one-man profession. A writer
Yeah.
writes, nobody else can do that work for you. It's not like a director who works with everybody. A writer works
Mm.
alone on his own, his own. So
Yeah.
how is it, why is it that some people regularly got great songs, and some other people didn't get that good songs. But you were the same person writing. How did you work so differently? So he said, these people you name, who you say have done great work, but I have done great work with. And the other people you name, who you say I have not done great work with, not such good work with, or not good work with. The difference is that the people you say I have done great work with, they brought me great stories.
Yeah.
They were directors who inspired me with great stories. They brought great writers. They themselves gave me a lot of instances from their own lives about what they were making. So what did they do? They inspired me further. My
Yeah.
life, my journey, my experiences are an inspiration by themselves. But here comes a
Yeah.
director who brings me a great story, great characters, great twists and turns, great emotions, you know. And they are, some of them got great sense of music also, great sense of actors. He's the one who told me that. He said, as a lyricist, I am a mirror.
Mm.
I am basically reflecting what I'm getting. If I get
Yeah.
a poor quality image, I will reflect a poor quality image. How can I better it? But if I get a good image, I will shine it further because
Mm.
now that image is lighting a fire in me.
Yeah.
वो मेरे दिल में आग लगाते हैं, अच्छी अच्छी कहानियां मेरे पास लाते हैं और मेरे दिल में आग लगाते हैं, and they inspire me to do good work. So I didn't choose to do good or bad work. The good or bad work came because of what I heard. I was able to give. If I put sugar cane in a car, it's not going to run. If I put, if I put petrol, it's going to run. So what goes in matters, na? It's not
Okay.
humility. It is fact. It is being
Okay.
candid. It is being truthful to your. It is being It's called integrity, where you
Yes, that's
understand
true.
why you are good.
Yeah.
You know your limitations as a human being.
Yeah.
You're an honest person.
Yeah.
You know you're limited. You know you're nothing without these directors and their stories. Is
That's
honesty.
true. Yes.
Is
Yeah.
honesty not to you, not to the director, to yourself.
To yourself. Yeah.
Is somebody with
Wow.
high self-worth. It's somebody with high self-confidence. Is somebody who surrenders to Ishwar, surrenders to what's coming his way. His work is good. You must give credit to the writer of the script
Right. So,
and the
yeah.
director.
Yeah. Now,
Also,
yeah.
along with the singer, along with the music composer, along with the actors.
Yeah. Now, because this channel is all about Sanatan Dharma and it explores spirituality and the deeper meaning behind life, I was really drawn to one particular, I believe it's an unreleased song your father wrote, which you also sent me to listen to. Main Atma Tu Paramatma. It was from the film, I think, Dhun, 1991.
Dhun.
Yeah. And it was sung by Mehdi Hassan Saab and Talat Aziz. But when one listens to that specific song, there's such a deep connection to the Paramatma. And then seeing the image you shared from your own father's diary, you shared it with me, where he's written Om Namah Shivaya, he's written Jai Shri Krishna, he's written Jai Hanuman, Jai Lakshmi Mata, Jai Saraswati Mata.
And at the
And then
end,
at
at
the
the
end,
end,
Jay myself. That's what I'm coming to.
yes,
That
yes.
really made me pause because was your father deeply adhyatmic? And how do you interpret that? When he wrote Jay myself, how do you interpret that line?
I don't know, but I just know one thing that even when we were children, right from the time we were children, when I began to notice him, observe things, you know.
Mm.
For example, if we were going on a long journey, every year on summer holidays we would go to our house. We have a home in a place in a hill station called Mahabaleshwar. We
Oh
go
yeah.
there every year. We still have the home there that
Okay.
dad and mom built. And when we would leave Bandra, Bombay, our house, so before we would get into the car, my father would touch the wheels of the car, the tires of the car. He would touch them and touch it to his heart.
Mm.
And many, many years, maybe 30, 40 years after that, when he started getting ill, when he would come out of the hospital or when he would enter the hospital because of his heart issue,
Yeah.
he would touch the floor of the heart of the hospital, the compound. When you enter the hospital, you get down from the car, he would touch the floor and touch his heart. So I asked him one day that, why do you do this? As a child, I
Mm.
asked him. He said, "कि इसमें भी जान है, इसमें भी जान है. Even this has a beating heart. You call it a
Yeah.
soul, we call it a soul, we call it आत्मा, and the Western world calls it atom. उसको एटम बोलते हैं ये
Mm.
लोग, एटम.
Yeah.
हाँ, ये वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड वाले इसको एटम बोलते हैं, लेकिन हम हिंदू इसको आत्मा बोलते हैं. तो इसमें भी आत्मा है, तो
Atma, yeah.
इसको, क्योंकि ये, अगर मैं इस अगर मैं इसका आशीर्वाद ले रहा हूं टायर का, क्योंकि ये टायर
Mm.
में मेरी बीवी, में तुम्हारी माँ और तुम्हारा भाई और तुम्हारी दो बहनें और मैं और ड्राइवर, हम इस गाड़ी में 6 घंटा 7 घंटा चला के जाएंगे, इतना दूर. तो
Mm.
हमें इसका आशीर्वाद लेना चाहिए, ताकि हमें शांति से, सक्सेसफुली इस जर्नी को हम पार कर दें.
Yeah.
इट इज नो
Without
डिफरेंट
any
फ्रॉम
problems.
लाइटिंग, इट वाज नो डिफरेंट फ्रॉम लाइटिंग अ दिया और लाइटिंग एन अगरबत्ती at dawn and dusk. It
Yeah.
is the same thing that you believe there is something that you have no control over. Bow to it. Bow
Yeah.
to it. You have no control over it. So bow to it. So that gives you confidence to take that journey, 7 hour journey. That gives you confidence to wake up in the morning
Mm-hmm.
with a dream. Because
Yeah.
there's such a lot of things which are not going to be in your control. Surrender, surrender, surrender.
Wow, I love that. And since we're talking about that, I think let's talk about. I think this was a divine intervention. You can tell me otherwise, but there's also a moment um, in your father's early Mumbai journey that stayed with me deeply when I found out about this with some research, that he was struggling there when he first arrived in Mumbai, and there was a
Yes,
railway
yes,
worker, I
yes.
believe, named Chitraman, who not only helped him but brought him into his home in Borivali. He gave him food, he gave him a place to stay, not just for a few weeks or months, but for 6 years, and then even daily money for expenses. And your father himself said, without Chitraman, he may have had to return back to Rawalpindi. Now, to me, that doesn't feel like an ordinary situation. It almost feels like a divine intervention. What would you
You
see it?
know, uh, a few years after my father passed away, my dad's buha means his sister, like a cousin sister, not like a direct
Yeah,
sister, like a cousin sister.
yeah,
And she said something amazing. She said, this Chitramal ji who came into your father's life, because of whom your father stayed back in Bombay, was able to find work, you know.
yeah.
Do you know who he was? I said, yeah, he was a railway employee. He was a ticket collector. She said, no, he was a ticket collector in this birth. In the previous birth, he was somebody who had caused the death of your father. Your father died very young, and he felt guilty that because of him, because of that accident that he caused, this young person has died. He came back
To
to
pay
give
his
life
dues.
to your father because he
Yeah,
took that life in the early birth.
yeah. Wow. But how did
I
your Bua know that?
I fell off my seat when I heard it. I got goosebumps. Because she was an
How,
astrologer, she was a spiritual soul. She could
uh,
make Janam Patri and everything. She to make Janam Patri. She was
yeah.
astrology. She was a lover of astrology. Passionately followed astrology. She was into
Okay.
somebody who could future predict some things that
Yeah.
can happen that happened.
Mhm.
So she said that he was reborn. He took rebirth, and your father took rebirth so that they can meet again, and for this man to give him a second life.
That's amazing.
So I think people should read this book and find out
Yeah.
that incident.
And
I
if
don't
you
want to
can,
read it
well, at
here.
this point, can you actually share with us the name of the book?
Oh yeah, the book is called Nagme, Kisse, Baatein, Yaadein. क्योंकि हम बख्शी साहब के नगमों की बात करेंगे, गानों की,
Mm-hmm.
उनकी बातों की बातें, उनकी यादें और
Mm-hmm.
उनके किस्से.
Kisse. Oh.
Yeah. So I know, I remember few years back, just before, few months before this biography got published,
Mm.
it was complete.
Yeah.
And it was not, I just felt that it needs a closing chapter. I don't have a closing chapter. You don't need one. Nobody
Mm.
needs one. But I just felt I need to add a closing chapter. I need to put an epilogue, kind of an epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
It was in my mind. I was wishing it, subconsciously wishing it. And I live on the second floor. We live on the second floor. So I can
Mm-hmm.
hear what's happening on the street. If I open my windows, I can hear it very clearly.
Mm.
So I was at my desk and I saw down, I heard something. I heard a song play. Somebody was playing an old song of the 1970s on the flute. And
Okay.
he was walking by and he was a flute seller. And he
Okay.
was so impoverished that he didn't even have shoes. He didn't have slippers. And he was very
Right.
shabbily dressed. He was extremely underprivileged soul. Very
Mm.
young, maybe in his mid 20s. And the song was of 1970s. The song was Mere Naina Sawan Bhado from
Oh
the
yeah.
from the movie Mehbooba, Rajesh Khanna and
Mehbooba,
Hema
yeah.
Malini.
Mm.
So I said, wow, look at this guy. He's maybe 20, 30 ke beech mein, and he's playing such an old song of dad's. So I shouted out to my watchman. I told him, send the guy up. Isko upar bhejo.
Mm.
So he came up. He came up. He came to my door, and I gave him some money. Bakshish. We call it bakshish, right? In
Mm.
our culture. I gave him some bakshish. So he took the bakshish, put it in his pocket, and he gave me a flute. So I said, मुझे flute नहीं चाहिए. मुझे जो तुमने गाना बजाया ना, मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगा. I didn't tell him the song is by my father.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
No.
I was so pleased by the fact that I heard such an old song after so long. So he said, "Mate, take something." Now, for the first time, I liked the guy. I liked his music. But the fact that he didn't want to take a freebie, he didn't want
Yeah.
to take a dole, you know, I liked him. I said, yeah, this guy is nice. He's a nice guy. So then I got interested in him and told him, this song you played is written by my father.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, अच्छा क्या है आपके पिताजी का नाम? So I showed him his name was, my father's name is outside the door. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, ये देखो ये है मेरे पिताजी का नाम. तो he said, मेरे को पढ़ने को नहीं आता है. तो I read out the name to him, Anand Bakshi. He said, हाँ नाम तो मैंने सुना है. Now something told me to bring him home. So I
Mm-hmm.
asked him to enter. And I took him to the living room. And in the living room, we have an album. And in that
Mm-hmm.
album, made by my father, it's got the photographs of who we call legends today. Kalyanji Anandji, Lakshmikant Pyarelal, R.D. Burman, Dharminder, Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, all photos are there. It's a thick album. All
Yeah.
superstars and stars of Hindi cinema. So I showed him all these photographs. And as I was showing him the photographs of the music composer, I was telling him a song. कि ये लक्ष्मीकांत पैरल है, इनका ये गाना है, वो गाना है. He's like, हाँ, I know the song, I know the song. And I showed him all Kalanji Anandji and Bappi Lahiri and so many composers. Now, what is very interesting was that every time I would show him a photograph of a legend,
Mm.
of who we call legend, he would touch the photograph and touch his heart. Now, as an Hindu, as a Sanatan Dharmi, I know what it means. When you touch something and touch it to heart, we know what it means, right? It's in a part of our culture, part of our growing up.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know from him because in life you can only learn when you ask why.
Yeah.
Without why, you will not learn anything in this world. Why, what, how, when, you have to ask. So I asked him, why are you doing this? Of course, I know why he's doing it, but I wanted him to tell me. The answer he gave me became the epilogue of the book, Nagme Kisse Baatein Yaadein. The epilogue of the book is what is a legend? What is a
Yeah.
legend? What is the meaning of legend? Because after my father died, you see, when my father was alive, for me, he was dad, daddy, daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Then we grew older, we go to school, we become a dad, go to college, he became pops, you know. Then you
Yeah.
grow older, and then when you become aware of what is wealth, You become aware of what is power. You become aware of what is celebrity. Then you realize that he's a big shot, yeah. This guy, my dad, he's a बहुत बड़ा आदमी है तो. Big people come home. Big stars come home. Big stars call him. Big film stars are working with him. Big directors. So you realize that he's some big guy.
Yeah.
But for you, he's just daddy, right? Now what happens? He dies. He dies. Biological body has to leave. Now everybody starts calling that same fellow legend. A legend. Or a legend. So I started thinking, people can call him legend. If I call him legend, it'll somebody will say, देखो अपने बाप की तारीफ अपने बाप की लाल कर रहा है, कि
Yeah.
because he's his father, he's saying legend. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
other people can call him legend. I should not call him legend because that is something which, as a son, I rather avoid. So for me, he's dad.
Hmm.
But I got very curious and I went and looked up the meaning of legend and I found out what legend means. I looked up in the dictionary and I found out what legend means. So I got a sense of satisfaction. Okay, this is what legend it means, officially means,
Hmm.
as a adjective or whatever. But what answer he gave me, this boy who's without slippers, wearing soiled clothes, thin as a skeleton, carrying flutes on his back. And I asked him, why are you doing this? And why did I make that the chapter of the book, epilogue? And why did I question what is a legend? Because he gave me the answer, which I did not find on the book on the internet. He told me कि साहब इन लोगों की वजह से मैं वक्त की 2 रोटी खाता हूं.
Wow.
I eat 2 meals a day because of these names,
Hmm.
these songs. People give me money. People buy my flute by hearing these songs. So my food comes to me because of these people. So I am taking their blessings. I'm saying thank you to them. For me,
Wow.
that day, I realized what legend means, and I tell people legend means that you do such karma in your lifetime, you do
Lifetime. Yeah.
such work in your lifetime that even long after you are gone, somebody unknown to you, you can run their house.
Yeah.
Your work will run their house even though you're not around. That is a
Yeah.
legend. And when I say this, I don't mean it only for Anand Bakshi. I mean it even for someone like a Sahir. I mean it even for someone like a Shailendra. I am not trying to say that my father, Anand Bakshi, is a legend. I am
No.
saying
No.
these people are
Yeah.
legends because today there are millions who are singing these songs and taking money home, Lakshmi home.
Yeah. True. Very true. I love that. And I think the real irony in the story about Chitraman, that specific story, is your father's first break, if I'm not wrong, came in 1958 with a film titled Bhala Admi,
Yeah,
where he was paid, I think, just 150 rupees for
60
4 songs.
rupees.
Yeah. Now, there's something quite ironic just about that, because that was a Bhala Admi like Chitraman who supported him. And then
Exactly,
his first
exactly.
film was that your father penned lyrics for, carried that same name, Bhala Admi. So, you can't make this stuff up. This is
And
karma.
yeah, and there's a incident just a few years before my father passed away.
Yeah.
Mr. Chitramal, he retired. He retired from the railways and he was on pension. So
Okay.
one day he came home to meet my father, and he just came home. He used to come home once in a month, once in 2 months, he would drop by, you know. So my father asked him that now you're retired, what will you do? You think I'll enjoy myself? Whole life I have worked. I'll rest. I've never
Mm.
taken rest. I've always been moving in trains cross country. So now I'll rest. I'll enjoy myself. My dad said, why don't you do some business? So he said, why should I do business? And where will I get money from to do business? And why should I do business? I'm getting pension from the government, from the railways. I'm okay with it.
Mm.
My dad said, "Arey, why not? You are young still. For business, you need a lot of money."
Yeah.
My father said, I'll give you the money. You start some business, I'll support it. He got so angry. He got
Okay.
so angry with my father. He said, "You have said it today. You say this again to me. You give me some stupid offer again. I will stop coming to this house. Are you trying to buy me?
Yeah.
Are you trying to pay me back for what I did for you? You think you can pay me back? You think anybody can pay anybody back for what they do to you?" He said, "Don't you dare give me such offers ever again. I did what I did. I did what I did because I wanted to do it. I didn't do it because I want a loan from you to start a business after 60 years. And
Wow.
don't you ever give me any such demeaning offer and demean me by trying to pay me back for what you think I did for you. I did nothing for you. I did it for myself because I liked you and I liked your writing. Don't try to buy me a favor." Now, where will you get a human being like this? Tell me.
अभी मैं यही कहने वाली थी कि you don't get people like that. You very, very, very rare will you find somebody like that. So what do you think really made Anand Bakshi Saab the Anand Bakshi we know today? What do you feel was behind that? Yes, karma, of course, was there.
You are not, you don't become what you are because of you. You become what you are because of what happens to you.
Yes.
Because you may do a karma, you may do an action,
Mm.
but the result is not in your hand because there are so many dynamics,
Yeah.
so many dynamics at play. 5 billion people living along with you, all kinds of environments, and I mean, so there are so many reasons why he succeeded. He was able to leave a mark.
Mhm.
First of all, he, for example, discipline is one reason also. He was extremely disciplined. Subhash Ghai told me that he's done about 14 films with me, but
Mm.
not even in one film did he ever delay a song. If I told him I want a song in 4 days, he would give it to me in 3 days. If I told him I want a song in 2 days, he would give it to me in one day. If I told him I want a song by evening, he would give it to me by afternoon. So discipline is one of the reasons why people
Mm.
love to work with him. Like if you were to if you told me 8:30, if you were to start at 9 o'clock, I would be upset. Right? So you're disciplined. So I like that. Okay, she
Mm.
values time, means she values me. You know.
Mm.
So discipline is one reason. Second reason is the fact that he never believed in camps. He never believed that I belong to XYZ.
Yeah.
His belief was I belong to the story.
Mhm.
Bring me a good story, I'll do it. He believed that I belong to the people who bring me the stories. If he liked you and you have a good story, he'll want to work with you. If he doesn't like you as a person, if you give him the best story, you pay him a higher fee, he'll reject you.
Mm.
Then the movies ran. If the movies were not to run, the songs by and large don't run. Even if the song is good, if the movie doesn't do well, the song gets forgotten.
Yeah.
So the movies ran. So he had a small hand in the movies running, you know. Though lot of fans say that many of his films have run because of the songs.
Mhm.
But they are the fans. Fan is passionate. A
Yeah.
fan is blinded by love.
Yeah.
So what happens is you don't realize that yes, the films did run for the songs, but the songs are not his creation alone. There's the director,
No.
there's the actor, there's the singer, there's the music composer, there's the writer behind it.
Yeah.
So it's not
And the
his,
singers behind it.
huh?
The singers behind it.
Yeah, and the singers behind it. So then also I would say that he had the ability to make you happy as a teammate. So when you're working with somebody who wants to make you happy, wants to do good work so that you feel happy as a team player, then next time when the work comes to you, you will prefer to work with that person because you feel, no, this person tries to deliver what I want. He is not
Yeah.
egoistic about, oh, you know who I am? Oh, you know how many songs I've written? Oh, do you know how many composers I've worked with? Oh, do you know how many directors I've worked with? No. You don't like this line? I'll write one more. Oh, you don't
Yeah.
like this song? I'll give you another one. So many reasons. Like
Yeah.
just the consequences of a karma are not in your hands. The same way the consequences of it is not in hand. There are so many factors that resulted in his success.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Well, let's
then
talk about a few of those songs because he's written, I mean, like you said, he's written so many thousands of songs. But if we pick some of the handful ones, now let's look at Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, since we're talking about obviously Sanatan Dharma and all that with that title. Obviously, the film was around something else, but that was a huge, massive success, especially the song Dam Maro Dam. Did he ever share with you what inspired him? Of course, the music director came to him, the producer, director came to him and said, "This is the film, this is what the storyline is." But what inspired him while writing
so
something
he
like
said
Dam
that
Maro?
the Dam Maro Dam, the
Hmm.
three words, are from his army years. When they were in the
Ah,
army, and they used to be posted in a very cold zone like Srinagar or Jammu border in the
yeah,
winters, or if they are in a place where it's extremely hot, or they are very tired, then some soldier mate of his or somebody would tell, चलो यार दम मारते हैं सब ठीक हो जाएगा. Meaning, let's have a smoke,
yeah.
this smoke, right? So एक दम मारेंगे सब ठीक हो जाएगा. So he remembered that from his army days, कि
Ah,
दम मारो दम, mid jai gum, in the sense
yeah,
that let's smoke, like sometimes when you're stressed, like I don't
stress, yeah.
smoke, so I don't know, but I know that my friends sometimes they're very stressed, they'll go to the corner, they'll leave the office or they leave the house, they'll go out and take a smoke and come back, so they feel that kind of a caffeine high or whatever high it may be, I don't know,
It's a
nicotine
relief
high,
for
sorry,
them. Yeah,
nicotine high.
yeah.
So that is, and the situation was such. You see, Hare Rama Hare Krishna is an extremely emotional film. It's
Mm.
a story of a separated brother and sister.
Yeah.
फूलों का तारों का सबका कहना है एक हजारों में मेरी बहना है. It's a story of a separated brother and sister, and the
Mm.
sister's lost her way. She's got into the hippie revolution of the 70s. She's got into that zone of the hippie movement which began in the
Yeah,
70s, right?
yeah.
And now he has to bring her back. So it's an extremely emotional film. And I remember about just before COVID, I happened to get in contact with a young boy. He was in college, and he told me, I'm a fan of Anand Bakshi. He must be about 21 years old today. So I said, okay, you're a fan of Anand Bakshi. He said, I'm a fan of Anand Bakshi from the 10th standard. So I said, what made you a fan of Anand Bakshi in the 10th standard? He said, Dam Maro Dam song. I said, why? He said, there is one line in Dam Maro Dam which attracted me to it. And I wanted to know who's the writer. And from
Mm.
that song, I started following Lyricist. Because from
Okay.
that time, I started following all Anand Bakshi songs. I started Googling him. Because in that song, there is a sentence that he connected with in the 10th, as a 10th standard student.
Yeah,
दुनिया ने हमको दिया क्या?
yeah.
दुनिया से हमने लिया क्या?
लिया क्या? Yes.
हम सबकी परवाह करें क्यों?
अरे क्यों?
सबने हमारा
सबने
किया
हमारा
क्या?
किया क्या? Yes.
He's Imagine this boy must have been about 14 years old or something in the 10th standard, right? And he
Yeah.
said that line was empowering for me. That I should not expect too much from the world, and I should also give something to the world.
Yeah. Wow. Uh,
Become a fan of Anand Bakshi from
wow.
that song.
Just
In
that
that,
song,
in
one
that
song.
other song, uh, देखो ओ दीवानो तुम ये काम ना करो राम का नाम बदनाम ना करो. The entire Gita ka essence is that one line in that song where he
Yeah.
says, कृष्ण को समझो, कृष्ण को जानो, नींद से जागो, राम को समझो, राम को समझो, कृष्ण को जानो, नींद से जागो, ओम मस्तानो. You people wake up to the reality of life.
Mm.
This next line is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, of Krishna's
Mm-hmm.
message to Arjun. The
Yeah.
line is, जीत लो मन को, जीत लो मन को, win over your mind.
Mm-hmm.
लेट योर बुद्धि विन ओवर योर माइंड. जीत लो मन को, पढ़कर गीता, मन ही हारा तो क्या जीता. If you lose the battle to your mind every day, if your buddhi is
Mm.
losing its battle with its mind every day, what are you winning?
Yeah, exactly.
You're losing, you're a loser. Because
Yeah.
your buddhi is supposed to control your mind. Your mind is
Wow.
not supposed to
Yeah.
control your buddhi.
No. Yeah.
So Krishna is the buddhi. Arjun is the mind. He has 1,000 questions for Krishna. Like our mind has got 60,000 thoughts a day. But it is our buddhi, our cultural experiences, our education, our upbringing, our experiences is our buddhi, which tells
Mm.
us, no, 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 don't think this, think this. So that's what he's saying. Jeet lo man ko padhkar Gita, because that is the message in the Gita to Arjun. Okay,
Yeah.
don't let your mind, don't listen to your mind, listen to your buddhi. These are your enemies, these are not your cousins. Fight them. Otherwise, they'll take your villages and your people. So that,
Powerful, powerful. Let's talk about another song, Chithi Aayi Hai, from 1986 film Naam, sung by Pankaj Das. It's such a deeply emotional piece. It moves people to tears even today when people hear that song. Do you feel that that came from your father's own experiences, perhaps leaving Rawalpindi, coming to Mumbai, being away from family, or was it
I
something
think
else
that,
he
I
was
think,
tapping
yeah,
into?
I think the that song is there in, that song is a part of everyone's journey in life,
Mm-hmm.
because that song is about separation.
Mm-hmm.
And the separation can be from any attachment. I mean, there are a million attachments we go through in life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's attachment to your parents, attachment to your mother or father, attachment to some friend or a
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, or attachment to a certain status or wealth, attachment to a certain car you want to be seen in, attachment with a certain watch you want to splash, attachment to a certain kind of body you want to display,
Have yeah.
because you want feedback, right? You need like, oh wow, oh, whatever, what muscles or what shape or lovely biceps and whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
So so it's about separation, and who doesn't go through separation? Tell me, you know.
Everyone
So
does.
yeah, so when that song, before the song was released, before that film was released, we were in a wedding in Delhi, and my father was asked to sing a song, and he said, "Okay, I'll sing something that has not been released as yet." So he sang the song, and there's somebody who came. My dad got off the stage, and he came rushing down. He came rushing to my father, and he was in tears, and he was an NRI, and he told my father, "Bakshi Saab," and he was crying. He said, "Oh my God, you have made me feel my motherland, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my gaon, my village. कैसे लिखा आपने? How did you write this song?" He's crying, howling, crying. And my father like, how do I deal with this guy? So he asked my dad one question. He said, "Bakshi Saab, where, in which country are your children living?" My dad, "My children are living with me." He said, "They're living with you?" He said, "Yeah, in my house. They live with me in my house." He said, "How did you write this song?" "I am an NRI and I'm crying.
Yeah.
So I thought you must be having a child living abroad." He said, "No, there are a lot of things I have lost in life. There are a lot of things that I've got separated from. Some which I wanted to be separated from, and some which got separated from me. So that memory doesn't leave you.
Mm.
Those emotions don't leave you. And when a situation comes up like this in a film, it evokes that fire in you that you're looking for as an artist. That's why I said, no, if my songs are good, it's because somebody
Yeah.
brought me a great story, a great emotion, a great philosophy, a great character, a great relationship.
Yeah.
For example, you take this song, one song from a movie called Zakam. And when I met Mr. I wrote a book called Director's Diaries. It's got the
Mm-hmm.
biographies, life journeys of about 25, 27, 28 filmmakers, top filmmakers of India. One of
Mm-hmm.
the filmmakers I covered life journey was uh, Mahesh Bhatt. So
Okay.
after my conversation with him for the book got over, I asked Mr. Bhatt, you have done a lot of films with Anand Bakshi, my father. Tell me something which comes to mind instantly about anyone incident with him which you would want to share with me as his son and as a writer of biographies and as a writer who writes, who is very inclined towards people. I love people. I love
Yeah.
people. I love talking to people. That's why I agreed to talk to you so easily. I just love talking to people because I learn from you. I learn from everybody. And I won't learn unless I talk. and unless someone talks
Mm.
back to me.
Yeah.
So he said, I came to your house and we were working on this film Zakam. And Zakam is my own life story of my father and mother not being able to marry
Yeah.
because they were belonging to different religions. So my
Religion.
father, he was my mother was my father's wife, but it was not publicly known. So
Mm.
they used to live separately. So sometimes my father would come to meet us, and this situation in the film is the same situation because it's my story. So the father has come to meet the son and his wife who he cannot declare as a wife publicly.
Yeah.
So I want a song for this situation. So Bakshi ji asked me one question. Ke, Bhatt Sahab, how often would your father come to meet you? Because you were not married, your mother was not legally married to your father. So because
Mm.
he was not living with you. So how often was he coming to see you all? So I told Bakshi Sahab, and Manish Bhatt got the habit of speaking Hindi, English. He
Yeah.
said, तो मैंने बख्शी साहब को बोला, बख्शी साहब, my father would come to meet us once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. These are actual actions and actual way he spoke to me.
Yeah.
So he said, I told Bakshi Sahab, once in a blue moon. Bakshi Sahab, he would rarely come to see us. Once in a blue moon, he would come to see us. That's how painful it was for us. That's
Yeah.
how we craved for him to come. We died for him to come. And your father in 1 second wrote the song for me. तुम आए तो आया मुझे याद गली में आज चांद निकला.
And such a gorgeous song it is. But yes, go on. Go ahead.
I always tell people when I want to compliment the director's contribution to films, the director's contribution to a song, I tell the story often that if it was not for Mahesh Bhatt to use the word blue moon,
Yeah.
Anand Bakshi would probably not have written Gali Mein Aaj Chand Nikla. He would have used some other simile, some other symbolism, you know. So
Mm.
that one sentence of his inspired him. So that's what I mean when I say if he did some great work with some great people, it was because they brought great stories. They themselves were so extrovert and giving idea and in their emotion. They were sharing emotions easily. If I
Yeah.
don't share emotions with you easily, you would not want to talk to me the next 1 hour next week.
No, that's right.
You know?
I wanted to talk about your father's range and the depth that he brought into the songs, and the fact that he remained relevant for so long in the industry. There were songs like Mendi Lagi Mere Haath, Jab Jab Phool Khile, Milan. And it's quite remarkable. And something else that I noticed, because right now, of course, we've got Indian Idol on our TV screens at the moment, season 16, which is where I actually saw you on. And hence I reached out. But my parents and myself, we love watching that show. And season 16 has by far been the most talented of talents singing on the show, I think. But what I noticed was about 75 to 85% of the songs, maybe even more, which are sung by the contestants on Indian Idol, are predominantly written by Anand Bakshi. I mean,
Yes.
that's just wild that his lyrics are so relevant today with Gen Zs singing on
You
Indian Idol.
know, I I used to keep getting this notification on my email account
Hmm.
from Google, from Spotify.
Hmm.
Every month, Spotify would send me analytics for years. I never bothered about it because I'm like my dad. I don't count the followers and I don't count the likes. I don't care.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's I believe, do your karma. Don't think of the results. Just do
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
feel, express what you want. As long as you don't abuse anybody, say what you want.
Hmm.
So I used to get this analytics from Spotify. I used to delete it. I delete. I don't want to know who's listening, who's seeing me, who's watching me. I don't care. Because I'm not money. I'm not making money from the likes.
Yeah.
I'm not making money from the followers. I am here to express. I told you, no, all of us are just energies who are looking to expand.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when we blog, it's an expansion of our energy because it's going to kill us if we don't express it out, right? So one day I thought, yeah, about 6, 7 months back, 7, 8 months back, I said, okay, let me see what is analytics. Of course, I know what analytics mean. I'm not a Dumbo. So I said, okay,
Hmm.
let me see what analytics are of Anand Bakshi. And I saw the analytics and I said, oh my God, his largest audience across the world is 19 to 34.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God. And then I said, let me go to YouTube. I went to YouTube. I said, let me check. I checked. Again, 19 to 35. I said, oh shit. I went to Instagram. Let me check. Again, I saw it was 19 to 35 in that same range. I said, oh
Yeah.
my God, I have to share this with people. I took screenshots and I put it up. But I was very sensitive, very intelligent, and very wise when I put that blog because
Mm.
I don't want it to come across as a hero worship. I made
Yes.
it a point to write in that blog, thanks to the team efforts of the music composer, director, writer, singers, that this, after 25 years after he's passed away, 19 to 35 are hearing his songs because of the
Mm.
teamwork. I don't want it to be a thing about, oh, look, Anand Bakshi. Because if you're hearing Anand Bakshi song, you're also hearing R.D. Burman.
Yes.
You're also hearing Lata.
Mm-hmm.
Who's singing it?
Yeah.
So it would be foolish for me to just write, oh, Anand Bakshi's audience. I wrote, yes, Anand Bakshi's audience, but thanks to the team efforts of all these people. Again, I want to bring to the focus that it is not him alone. Don't do hero worship. Don't forget that if somebody praises you, they're praising your mother, they're
Mm-hmm.
praising your father,
Yeah.
they're praising the stupid brother of yours, and the nice brother or the bad brother or whoever made you who you are today.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that was something that I knew we were going to have this conversation, and I wanted to say that to you that 75 to 85% of the songs or more, as I say, are all Anand Bakshi songs that are sung on these talent shows. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's all Gen Z people who are singing it. So it's
You
just,
know, when I go to the live shows, I
yeah.
sometimes meet very elderly people. Some of them
Mhm.
come in wheelchairs for the events, and whenever they come, whenever I see anybody in a wheelchair, or I see anybody in the audience who's struggling to get up to go to the toilet,
Yeah.
you know, 99% of the time I have made it a point to go and meet them
Okay.
and not make them aware of their fragility or their vulnerabilities,
Hmm.
but in a very discreet manner to thank them that
Yeah.
you have come for this event. Look at your fragility, look at your vulnerability. You need
Yeah.
someone to hold you to take you to the toilet.
Hmm.
Some of them come in wheelchairs. I try and go and meet them and just do jai.
Mm. Yeah.
And many of them touch my feet. They touch my feet and I said, why are you doing this? Why are you touching my
Mm.
feet? I said, nobody. They said, no, 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 no. It was a dream to see your father. हमारा सपना था कि हम कभी आनंद बख्शी को
Oh,
मिले. हम नहीं मिल सके. हम आपके थ्रू दर्शन करना चाहते हैं उनका. Now,
wow.
when this happens to you, you change.
Something else I came across, something really interesting about the song Rote Rote Hasna Sikho from Andha Kanu. Now
Yeah.
you can spread the light on this. There's a line in that song, Jitni chabi bhari Ram ne utna chale khilona. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So that
the
is,
song was picturized on Amitabh Bachchan. And I understand that when your father later saw that film, Andha Kanun, the character was portrayed as a Muslim. And he felt, had he had known, he might have used a different word, more aligned with the character.
yeah,
But
you would have used
interest,
something to do with Ram, Krishna, Lakshman,
yeah. But
Balaram or
the
something.
interesting point is that the audience didn't question it, and the song became a super hit. So, what are your thoughts on that moment when your father was he thinking, or is this just,
No, no,
just
he made a mistake because
yeah?
he did not know the character is Muslim because the director of the film was from South India. And
Okay.
whenever the director came to narrate the story to my father, he never used the name of the character. He used to
Okay.
say Mr. Bachchan, Mr. Bachchan, Mr. Bachchan, Mr. Bachchan. Mr. Bachchan does this, Mr. Bachchan says this, Mr. Bachchan will sing a song now, that way. So my father, his mistake was he didn't ask him character ka naam kya hai.
Huh.
So my dad said that had I known he's a Hindu or had I known he's a Muslim, I would have used a simile of his culture.
Yes.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
if you meet a Muslim, he'll tell you Inshallah.
Yeah.
But if you meet a Hindu, he'll say Bhagwan karega.
Yeah.
Bhagwan kare.
Yeah,
Bhagwan,
yeah, yeah.
so I will use what I am culturally aware of, culturally I believe in, right? So that in
Yeah.
that sense, he believed that he should have asked the director, "अरे यार, Mr. Bachchan, नाम तो बोलो." So that is what he felt is wrong because he feels he was not true. But why the audience did not mind it? Because if you see Amar Akbar Anthony,
Mm.
there are three sons giving blood to the mother at the same time.
Yeah.
They are on in the hospital, and
Mm.
there's three needles attached to one pipe, and the one pipe is going into the mother. It is idiocy to the ultimate level because nobody can receive blood from three people at the same
Three
time. They can
people.
receive,
Yeah.
yeah. So they made a mistake. But what did what did my father say? He said people never minded it, nor did they point it out, because the reason they were giving blood is so emotional. उनकी माँ है वो,
Mm.
उसको नहीं पता। ऑडियंस को पता ही है माँ है उसकी, तीनों की, उनको नहीं पता। तो इमोशन the audience say, oh my god, they don't know this is the mother they are saving,
Yeah.
because the emotion is so strong. You don't care about the logic.
Yeah.
I don't care what the logic is. She is the mother. ये बेटे हैं उसके। I will clap. यार क्या बात है यार, बेटा हो तो ऐसा। So that is what is filmmaking. That is what is. I mean, there are so many paintings of some artists I will not name. They're so stupid, the paintings. If they tell you what the artist is trying to depict, then it makes some sense to you. Then you say,
Yeah.
F the logic. I don't care about the logic. This,
Yeah.
the story, why this has been made this way is making sense to me.
Mm.
Otherwise, the abstract forms sometimes are so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
logic, emotion will overrule logic
Yeah.
only when the emotion is strong. Otherwise, the
Sure.
people will laugh you out of the theaters.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I think that's the reason why nobody really said anything up until now. Okay, let's talk about your personal life. And we're going to have another conversation later on about this because I'm conscious of time. I know it's quite late for you in India at the moment. But so we're coming towards the end almost. But let's talk about you for a little moment. What was it like growing up with Anand Bakshi Saab at home? Like, was spirituality or religion a deep part of your upbringing?
So when I was in college, I fell in love,
Okay.
and my father had bought me a Honda motorcycle.
Mm.
It was the coolest motorcycle in the city of Bombay. Flashy orange with a
Oh, wow.
water-cooled radiator.
Yeah.
So I should take her. I fell in love, so I should take her for rides. So one day I came home and my father told me कि अरे मेरे को पता चला है कि तेरा कुछ चक्कर शुरू हो गया है। And Punjabi chakkar means having an affair,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
So I said, so immediately I knew I was guilty. I was guilty. So I immediately went to the defensive. I said, no, 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 nothing of that sort. He's saying, अरे I have seen you. तू उसको मोटरसाइकिल पे घुमाता है, कार्टर रोड बैंडस्टैंड घुमाता है। So I said, oh shit, the guy's seen me. Dad has seen me. So I said, yeah, yeah. हाँ, I said, no, no, I said, sometime I drop her to college, you know. तो इसे देखो बेटा, ये सब बकवास है, it's all nonsense. Stop it. I don't want to see you
Mm.
again with that girl. I want to concentrate on your studies. I was young. My hormones are playing on me.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, Dad, you're a hypocrite. He said, Arey, what do you mean hypocrite? What is the big word you learned and come? You're throwing the big words at me, hypocrite. What do you mean hypocrite? What have I done that is hypocrisy? I said, of course, you're a hypocrite. He said, explain to me how I'm a hypocrite. I said, Dad, ever since I was a child, I've been hearing your love songs. सावन का महीना पवन करे शोर, आजा आजा आ तेरी याद आई, यू नो, मेरी बाहों में आजा, हम बने तुम बने एक दूजे के लिए, यू नो, दिल क्या करे जब किसी को किसी से प्यार हो जाए, हम जवां होंगे जाने कहाँ होंगे। Bloody hell! Since childhood, you have we have been hearing your love songs, and now it's my time to fall in love. And you're telling me this is nonsense? You're a bloody hypocrite. He said, "What nonsense are you talking? What do you mean hypocrite? Those songs are not written for you. Those songs are written for a character on the screen. And it's my profession. I get paid money for it. That money
Mm.
makes me run this house. That money makes me send you to school and college. It's my profession. I'm not writing these songs for you or your sister or my wife. These are all fictional songs. This is the time, this is the age for you to study. After you finish your studies and you start making your own money, go bloody fall in love. I'll give you the blessings, but not now. Now your energy needs to be focused on your education. Now you
Mm.
go, and I don't want to see you again with that girl. So you see what I'm trying to say. He's a father at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's not Anand Bakshi at home. He's Anand Bakshi for you. He's Anand Bakshi for those who watch Indian Idol. For me, he's dad.
Mm.
He's daddy. So you were always daddy for me. And remain
Mm.
daddy for me. And because he was daddy for me and he was not Anand Bakshi, it took me 17 years to write the book Nagme, Kisse, Baatein, Yaadein. Because it took me 19 years to find out Anand Bakshi. I never knew
Wow.
him. I only knew him as dad, daddy.
So tell me one fact, fun fact about Anand Bakshi Saab, which hardly anybody knows, or about Daddy, as you say, that nobody hardly knows, but maybe just you.
So my dad was when he was in the army, he used to
Mm.
paratroop. He used to get 75 rupees for paratrooping. Jump from the
Okay.
aircraft. Paratroop.
Mm-hmm.
You name in the Indian Army. He
Yeah.
served 3 years in the Royal Indian Navy, the British Navy, 3 years before partition. And after partition, he served 8 years in the Indian
Mm-hmm.
Army.
Yeah.
So he used to get 75 rupees extra for paratrooping. So a man who's paratrooping is the same man. After he became Anand Bakshi, could not go in a lift. He'd be scared to go in a lift. When he used to go to the toilet, he should shut the door but never lock the door.
Mm-hmm.
He was scared of closed spaces.
Oh.
And because he was, and when he used to be at home, we had two brothers, two sisters, and a mom. We have had 100 fights with my father all our life. That whenever anybody would go out, he would make sure that one person remains at home, either my sisters or me or my mother. He would never want to be home alone. And
Mm.
so many times we have fought with him that, what's your problem? Why do you want one of us to stay back? You know, well, after he passed away, when I was going through his diary, I found out that he was suffering from. So he had met a psychiatrist and come, and he had made notes. He tried notes. So he had made
Mm.
a note what the psychiatrist had told him, the psychologist. The psychologist has
Yeah.
said that my fear of being alone at home is because my mother passed away at the age of 5, and I felt a sense of abandonment without knowing it. As a child, you don't know what is death. As
No.
a child, you see there's someone missing that everybody else has got.
Mm.
सबके पास तो है,
Yeah.
मेरे पास नहीं है, तो मेरे को छोड़ के गई है. You don't know what death means, na? As a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old,
No, you don't.
you feel she's left me. So that sense of abandonment after 30, 40 years came to him as a fear of being alone. Because he used to fear being left because he felt left alone. Because when his
Yeah.
father remarried, naturally, not naturally, in his instance, the stepmother was not able to give him the kind of affection
Love.
that he saw
Yeah.
around him,
Yeah.
other children getting. So he always felt abandoned because his father
Oh.
also remarried, rightly so. So he has to
Yeah.
also live his life. So
Mm.
his second abandonment came from the father remarrying
Okay.
because then his attention went to her.
Yeah.
He lost out on whatever he got. Suddenly there's somebody else. It's like sibling rivalry. You have a
Yeah. Yeah.
baby, and the second is
Yeah.
born, and there's a fight
Yeah.
because the elder one is saying, "Arey, no, my mom is not looking at me."
Yeah.
Mom is feeding him all the time, not even daring to let me come close, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like that. So that sense of abandonment, crept in. It was there, always there, but it didn't leave him. It got worse, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are things
Wow.
which I share so that people realize that, yeah, you are calling him a legend, and some people call him a god of cinema, god of lyrics, but no, he's no different from you and me. He's got flaws. He had flaws. He had shortcomings. He had fears. He had phobias, and yet he made it.
Yeah.
You will also make it.
I love that. And some of your father's songs don't just feel lyrical, they feel like you've just explained, reflections on life itself, like songs
Yeah.
like
You take that song like
ये
तुम
जीवन
बेसहारा
है.
हो तो
Huh?
तुम बेसहारा हो तो
Huh?
इफ किसी का सहारा बनो
Yeah.
तुमको अपने आप ही सहारा मिल जाएगा.
Yeah. And
It's
like I
like
was,
people, it's like he should say that if you lift others on your shoulders,
yeah,
your height increases.
yeah, yeah,
People will value you from whom you lift.
yeah,
If you lift hatred, you will be hated. If you
yeah,
lift love, you will be loved. It's what
yeah,
you lift that will either increase or decrease your height.
yeah. So some of those songs that feel like he was trying to say something through these songs, like "ये जीवन है, इस जीवन का यही है रंग रूप." Then "जिंदगी के सफर में आदमी मुसाफिर है." That was describing a man, eternal traveler, right? Leaving behind only memories. Then "कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे" from Amar Prem, urging again, like you've just said, urging people to live their truth, right, without fear, without kind of having any kind of attachments, and even referencing Sita ji in that song. Chingari koi bhadke, I believe that was his favorite song, was it?
Yeah.
It carries a really deep introspective reflection on life's uncertainties and emotional struggles. They don't just sound like poetic, when you hear it, they feel like life being understood. So I think maybe am I right to say that he was putting some of his moments into those songs? What are your thoughts on that?
The life you live, the experiences you have, they are lying dormant in us. It's like the disease, when we suffer from a disease, for example, take cancer. Every single human being has got cancerous cells in them. And then something comes up, and those cancer cells get triggered. But it's not that they are not in you. They are in everybody. It's just that they are not in large numbers. They have not been triggered for the numbers to multiply. When when your environment changes, or you take on too much stress or anger, or sugar, anger, stress, anxiety, these are cancer causing. So then those cells get activated, and then they start multiplying, and then becomes cancer, right? In the same way, those emotions, all these emotions are in all of us. And depending on what you come across, that emotion is going to be evoked. So there is hate, jealousy, love, charity, forgiveness, non-forgiveness, in everybody. But depends on what do you surround yourself with, what kind of people and experiences, what is your news feed, what is your news feed on Instagram, what is your news feed on YouTube, because that is going to evoke thought, and that thought will evoke experiences, and then those experiences will come to the forefront. So similarly, he's been through such a checkered journey, so all kinds of experiences, so when the story comes up and that emotion is evoked, then that emotion gets evoked, and then that comes to the forefront, and then you have the talent to weave it into words, right? So then becomes a song, becomes a lyrics. So it's your experiences which get evoked from the story you hear and from what the director narrates to you, and then that it comes to the forefront. It's like we have muscles, right? But they are lying. It's only when I want to lift something that the muscle comes into play.
Yeah. Final last two questions I have, and then we'll give it a wrap. You mentioned earlier with the song Gali Mein Aaj Chand Nikla Hai, he wrote that. And there's many other songs.
1 minute.
Within a minute, wow. Okay, so there's certain songs that he has written so quickly, almost like the words were coming through him like a divine download. Did you ever witness that process when he's writing songs?
So, once I asked my dad that, why don't you ever take credit for what you have done? Because you always give the credit to the music composer, director, actor,
Mm,
uh, you know, public ने पसंद किया तो
mm,
चला. Why don't you say, yeah, I've written a hit song. He said, beta, this, you have given it a name called lyricist. दुनिया ने इसको नाम दिया है lyricist,
mm,
गीतकार. मेरे लिए गीतकार, मैं गीतकार नहीं हूं. मेरे लिए सरस्वती है. Now, I
mm.
cannot own Saraswati.
Yeah.
So if I start taking the credit for what you want to give me credit for, then
Mm,
the Saraswati नाराज हो जाएगी.
yeah.
She might leave me. So I don't want Saraswati to leave me. I don't want to take the credit because it is hers to take.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thought, that kind of spirituality, where you're not religious, but you're spiritual.
Yeah.
So it's about humility, it's about realizing that you are powerless.
Mm-hmm.
There's something else at play here, the
Yeah.
divine. That's the reason why he's got so many things written on his first page. All these Shaktis, we are
Yeah.
calling it God.
Yeah.
They're not gods. God is not our term. हमारे में term ही नहीं है ना वो God.
True.
It's
Yeah.
an Abrahamic term. These are Shaktis. Shiva is a Shakti, the mind. Durga is the feminine energy.
Shakti. Yeah.
Shri Shakti, Durga, Kali, these are the different roops of that particular Shakti. That's why she's on a tiger, because she's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Shiva's eyes are shut because it's the mind. It's the power of the mind, meditation, concentration, dhyana. That's Shiva. And Shiva and Shakti come together to create action.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of belief he had, that this is Saraswati at play. Who am I? I don't know how I do these things. But I also want to say, when my father was asked, I think 1 or 2 years before he passed away, a journalist asked him that, Bakshi Saab, you have worked with more than 50, 60 composers. You have worked with more than 240, 50 directors. You have done about 650 films. You have done about 3,500 songs. So which is that combination which worked best for you?
Mm.
Best combination. Most successful combination. So my dad said, Kamala Bakshi. So he said, who's
Your
Kamala
mom.
Bakshi? He said, who's
Yeah.
Kamala Bakshi? What has she made? He said, she's my wife. He said, but why are you naming her? What about Subhash Ghai? Yash Chopra, R.D. Burman? He's saying, because my wife kept aside her dreams
Mm.
and told me, you want to write songs though? Go write songs. Leave the children to me. I'll bring them up. You do what you want to do. Go. If she had not allowed me this freedom and the space, I would not be here. You would not be asking me this question today. So, my best partnership, the biggest collaborator to my success is my wife.
Mm. Wow. What a man, huh?
Not a
Now
man.
talk
Seriously.
you've just
Now you
mentioned.
understand. Now you understand why I am devoted to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should be.
Yeah.
And I think you're
Because
blessed.
I was not. I've had 1,000 fights with him. We used to be at Daggers ends
Wow.
so often. Because as you grow older, your child becomes a man.
Yeah.
When the child becomes a man, the father and the child are no longer father and son. They are two
Mm.
male egos clashing.
Mm.
This happens in almost every house, in every race.
Yeah.
Because now they are two male egos.
Mm-hmm.
They are two Shivas,
Yeah.
two Purushas. And then you need the feminine energy to balance them out, the mother or the sister. She comes in. Why the father cools down when the sister or the mother comes into the fight because she brings in the feminine balance,
Femininity. Yeah.
which we
But
lack.
just touching on that, we've spoken about all the Bollywood songs that your father's written. He's written very few devotional songs, but the songs that he has written, they became super duper hits as well. Like there's one that comes to mind straight away, the Chalo Bulawa Aaya Hai Shero Wali Hai,
So I
from
went to Shirdi. I went to Shirdi many years ago,
yeah.
long after my father passed away. And I finished darshan and I went on the street outside, and there were
Mm,
these hundreds of people selling CDs, all kind of aartis,
mm,
Shirdi Sai Baba ki aartis and all. So young boy, so I told him कि मुझे कोई आरती दो अच्छा, शिरडी साई बाबा का मेरे को अच्छा आरती दो.
mm,
तो he gave me a CD. So I saw the CD and I gave it back. I said, I don't want this. I want an आरती.
mm.
मेरे को आरती चाहिए, आरती शिरडी साई बाबा का आरती चाहिए. He said, साहब ये आरती है, इधर रोज बजता है. तो ऐसे अरे बाबा ये आरती नहीं है, मेरे को आरती चाहिए. इसे अरे साहब मैं आपको बोलता ना, मैं इधर ही धंधा करता है इतने साल से, ये सबसे फेमस आरती है साईं बाबा का. ऐसे अरे भाई मेरे ये आरती नहीं है, ये फिल्म का गाना है, ये मेरे बाप ने लिखा है. शिरडी वाले आई साहब
Sai
बाबा,
Baba.
आया है
Yeah,
तेरे दर पे सवारी.
yeah.
ये
Beautiful
फिल्म का
song.
गाना है, फिल्म का
Yeah,
गाना है. इसे नहीं साहब ये आरती है, ये इधर आरती होता है इसका. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, a film song written for fictional characters, a fictional god in a film, okay,
yeah,
has
yeah,
become an arti today.
yeah. But even
When
like
I
this
went
one
to
that I'm saying,
see,
the Chalo Bulawa Aaya
when I
it's
saw
for
this
Vaishno
film,
Devi, right?
when I saw this film in Delhi, when I was
Yeah,
in 1980s, I saw this film in Delhi. When this song came on the screen, चलो बुलावा आया है, माता ने बुलाया है.
yeah.
I swear on my mother father's soul, what I witnessed blew me. The
Okay.
entire theater got up and removed their chappal and juta.
Wow. Okay.
That is Bharat, that is India, and that is
Mm-hmm.
why the West always gets us wrong. They will
Mm,
never get
yeah,
us right because
yeah.
they don't know what it means to remove your juta and chappal when you are hearing a film song which is an आरती. लोगों ने अपने जूते चप्पल निकाल के खड़े हो गए लोग.
Huh.
That is
Wow.
Bharat.
Yeah,
That is Sanatan Dharma. And that is something the Abrahamics will never understand. कि
yeah.
जूते चप्पल क्यों निकालते हैं लोग.
It's just amazing. I can carry on talking to you, but I know we got to wrap it up. But I just want to say that all these songs, they carry a deeply devotional essence as well. For me, what really stands out with your father is, without quoting a single shlok, your father brought the essence of Sanatan Dharma into mainstream Bollywood. Whether he realized that he was doing that or not, he wasn't writing bhajans, he was writing the human experience, all about love, loss, attachment, the ego, longing, surrender, as you spoke about earlier. Everything the Gita speaks about, he put that in a language everyone could feel. And after writing for more than 600 films and around 4,000 plus songs, it feels as though his journey wasn't really about success or fame or achievement. It feels like it was about something a lot deeper, almost a
So
form of surrender.
talking of success and failure,
Yeah.
just about, I got divorced in 1997. He passed away
Right.
in 2002. So in
Okay.
these 4 5 years, he saw me struggle a lot
Yeah.
because when I got divorced, even my business failed. So
Okay.
as a man, your business failing
Yeah.
and your wife leaving you
Mm.
and you becoming bald. Three things happen to you at the same time.
Yeah.
So no, it's not a joke. These are very serious things for a man.
No,
Losing your
you're saying
head.
that. I'm smiling because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
you're
I
saying
know.
that it's a serious thing, but these days being bold is
Yeah,
in
I know. I'm just telling you, it's not a joke. It's a joke now for us, and I'm laughing over it. But at that time,
yeah,
you're suffering because your
sure,
wife
yeah.
has left you,
Yeah.
your business has failed,
Mm.
and you lost your hair. You're just fucking nothing. You're zero. So my
True. I
father
know.
told me, my dad told me, He said, beta, by the end of your life, it's not going to matter how many Filmfare awards you earned, how many songs you wrote, how many did well, how many did not do well. Is your wife pretty? What car you drive? None of this is going to matter. But what is going to matter by the end of the life when you come to my age? What is going to matter is what kind of human being have you become by not writing songs, by not becoming a director, by not getting remarried, by not having hair, by not having the best body, by not having the car of your car, dream car, but not living in the dream area of your life. What have you become because of all this? That is all that is going to matter.
Yeah.
So I don't care whether you become a director, filmmaker, a writer. I don't care. I just want you to look after your brother. I want you to look after your sisters. I want you to look after your mother. She's not well educated
Mm.
after I've gone. That's all I want from you. And if you just do these three, you have lived a successful life.
Yeah.
So don't worry about not getting married, getting divorced, not getting a film to write or make. It doesn't matter. It will not matter. What will matter? What have you become in the process of not getting these things? That is Anand Bakshi.
What sound advice. And perhaps that's why his words continue to live on
Yeah.
long after the
That is
film
why
doesn't
his work
exist.
is being
Yeah.
sung today also.
So
Because
I'd like to leave our conversation right now with this. When people remember Anand Bakshi Saab in the next 50 or 100 years from now, beyond, like you've said, beyond the awards, beyond the records, beyond the songs, what do you hope they remember most about the man Anand Bakshi?
there are so many people who don't even know the writer of the song that they like. They don't know who
Mm.
wrote it. It doesn't matter. What matters is that those songs will change somebody somewhere. That's all that matters. Coming. So I feel that the fact that the songs are being heard even today, what more
Mm.
do I want than this?
And the
What more?
love and credit I think that he's getting as well. And
What
if
more
Anand
can I?
Bakshi Saab was sitting with us today, right now, here, and he could leave one message for the next generation, what do
You
you
know,
think
one
that
one
message would
student, one young student around age 20, he
be?
came to
Yeah.
meet me from Jharkhand.
Okay.
He is doing a PhD on Anand Bakshi. He came to meet me.
Okay.
So I'll
Yeah.
definitely meet you. I met him. He interviewed me on camera for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. His last question to me was that I have read a few places where you have mentioned that you are not going to make any effort for a Bharat Ratna for your father. People have asked you, okay, we would like, why don't you ask the government of India to give a Bharat Ratna to your father?
Yeah.
But you have always replied that I am not going to be asking anybody to give my father a Bharat Ratna. Let
Mm.
the fans do it on their own.
Yeah.
Why don't you want a Bharat Ratna for your father? He asked me. He was very angry with me because he was a devoted fan. He was not just a fan, he was devoted. That's why he's doing a PhD on him. I asked him, you're around 20 years old. He said, yes. I said, you have taken money from my dad and mom to come here. He said, yes. I said, this 2, 3 days you're going to stay in Bombay. Your father and mother are giving you money to spend, to eat and stay. Yes. He said, yes. I said, the journey to Jharkhand to Bombay took you 2 nights, 3 days. He said, yes. So I said that a boy who's in his 20s, who's not made 1 rupee in his life till now,
Mm.
taken money from his parents, left his house to come to Bombay over 3 nights journey to talk to me, Anand Bakshi's son, for Anand Bakshi's life story and songs. That is Bharat Ratna.
Yeah. Wow.
That is the Bharat Ratna, na? What is Bharat Ratna? How many people
Exactly.
have left their home today to go and meet somebody and
Yeah.
to know their story? How many people are there who left their
Not
house,
many. Not
borrowed
many.
money from their parents at the age of
Yeah.
20, to go and ask somebody else a question about not their mother and father,
Mm.
but somebody else's father. I said, isn't this bigger than a Bharat Ratna? Your trip over here? He started crying.
Yeah.
He cried. He had no answer.
But there is no answer. Like, how do you answer that question?
Exactly. I don't have an answer. But my answer is that isn't this a Bharat Ratna? Why do you want a piece like this just stationary on your, you
Yeah.
know,
True.
just piece of metal. Bhumi, Agni,
Yeah.
Vayu, Akash, Jal. That's
Yeah.
it. I said, I said, you are a living Bharat Ratna for my father. Living, breathing.
Yeah. So talking of that last bit then, okay, as what do you think what do you think the message of your father would be if Anand Bakshi Sahib was sitting here right now with us and there was one message that he would leave for the next generation?
Once he wrote, he very rarely, maybe 2 or 3 songs, maybe 2 songs, he must have told us, come, hear something I've written. So one day
Yeah.
he told me, my brother, sometime in the 90s, he said, I've written a song and this song will help you in any stage of your life.
Mm.
I want you to hear it from me. I sat down on the table, dining table, my brother sat and I sat. And he recited the song he wrote. This song is, I think, in a Jackie Shroff film. And I think there's Jackie Shroff and Dimple Kapadia are there in the film. I'm not very
Mm-hmm.
sure. But the lines are, and he told me this song I want you to hear because this song you will need in every stage of your life. It will come of use to you in any stage, in every stage of your life, at every age and stage. I heard it's okay. The song was मुश्किल में है कौन किसी का मुश्किल में है कौन किसी का समझो इस राज को मुश्किल में है कौन किसी का समझो इस राज को लेकर अपना नाम कभी तुम खुद को आवाज दो who belongs to whom when they are in trouble
Yeah.
who comes to who helps whom when they are in trouble only you.
Yeah.
Don't depend on anybody. Depend only on yourself. You are the most dependable person for yourself. You're the most dependable person to yourself. Don't depend on anybody. Don't call out to anybody.
I think that
That's what
sounds,
the Bhagavad Gita says. Krishna says, I'm
yeah.
within you. You don't have to go looking outside for help.
Yeah.
Just look within. I'm there.
And you don't need to tell your sorrows to anybody either. Tell them to God. If you want to confine in anybody, tell them to Krishna, tell them to whoever you believe in. But you don't need to
Yep.
tell everybody because nobody else can help you, like you've just said. I love that. And what sound
So I
advice
remember
there.
as a child, there was a song every week he would play. He would play it on a small player and he would make us hear it. You walk around the whole house hearing that song. It was a song by Helen Reddy, and it was from
Okay.
a movie called Airbus, 1970s film called Airbus.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, it was Airbus, the name of the film. And in this film, there's this nun with a little child, and she's singing this song to this child, and the song was, I don't know the lyrics, but the essence of the song is, you are your own best friend. Who can you call out to when you're in trouble? Yourself. Who can you go to when you're in trouble? Yourself. Who will hear you cry? Yourself. Who will hear you laugh? Yourself. Who will
Yeah.
walk beside you when there's no one else? Yourself. Who will sing a song with you when no one is willing to sing with you? Yourself. Be your own best friend is Helen Reddy's song. And that is the first lesson I learned from my father was this song. Be your own best friend.
Yeah. Well, it was a great lesson to have learned. I think
Yeah. And I think
that just sums it up there.
I've spent so many
Yeah.
years single because I was never single. I always believed I am there for myself now.
Mm.
I'm there now for myself. And when I got into the Upanishads and Vedas and Advaita Vedanta, I
Mm-hmm.
realized, dude, myself is Krishna. That
Mm-hmm.
myself, I'm saying myself is Krishna, is Hari, is Vishnu, is Narayana,
Yeah.
according to my culture. I don't
Yeah.
know what others believe. So that only gave me more strength. So earlier, when 2 decades went by saying that, okay, I'm there for myself. I'm there for my brother. I'm there for my sisters. Oh, your father's got what a legacy your dad has left behind. Oh, what a house your dad built. Oh, you got a bungalow in Mahabaleshwar. Oh my God, you got some amazing cars and all your dad has left behind. Everything. I hear all kinds of compliments and amazing stuff, feedback. And I always think, the real legacy of my father is not the 61 music composers and the 3,900 songs and the trophies and rewards and the request for Bharat Ratna and demands for Bharat Ratna from some people. The real legacy of my father is that when my sister Kavita and my sister Suman and my brother Rajesh Bakshi and my brother-in-law also, whenever they have been in trouble, my sisters, the first phone call they make is to Rakesh Bakshi and Rajesh Bakshi. I think that is the real legacy of Anand Bakshi and Kamla Bakshi. That even 20 years, 25 years after they've gone away, the first phone call my sister Suman or my sister Kavita have ever made to anybody when they have been wanting something which is beyond their reach and means, it has been me and my brother. And I don't think that any bigger legacy than this that you can leave for a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is the true legacy of my father, not these big, big names and big, big figures we have been talking about. So many songs and so many composers and so many films. The real legacy is that राकेश बख्शी राजेश बख्शी को आज भी फोन आता है जब उनकी बहनें तकलीफ में हो.
Mm.
That is the real legacy.
That's a
And
beautiful
I think
thought, beautiful
that is
sentence.
the message that is really worth passing on.
Yeah.
What are you building? Are
Yeah.
you building something that will last beyond your death? Then that's a legacy.
Yeah.
So I think they built a relationship of siblings who have lasted so far. I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but yes, they have lasted so far. Mhm.
Thank you so much, Rakesh ji, for joining me here on the Conscious Mind. I genuinely feel that we've touched on something deeper than just songs today. We've explored the journey, the struggles, the spirituality, the philosophy, and the human experiences that shaped Anand Bakshi Saab into one of the most loved lyricists India has ever known, and beyond that. And for me personally, I think it's been a privilege to hear these stories and reflections through the eyes of someone who knew him not as a legend, but as a father, as you said. And I also feel we've only just scratched the surface. So I would love to welcome you back for another conversation when we explore your own journey, your work. You spoke a little bit about what you do, but I think I'd like to go deeper into that, your work, because you are an author and you learn about your reflections and your own spiritual journey as well. So I'd like to learn more about that. So I just want to say thank you once again for your generosity, your openness, and for sharing these memories with us. It's so kind. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste to your crowd. And
Thank you.
we'll chat again.